We barely have awoken from the chaos and ruins rained upon us by the dark oppressor, and here she is again in our bare and barren village to ravage and destroy what was left of it. These were the words that clustered my heavy heart many years ago during one of the days of our oppression, misery and despair. Even now, 94 years after, I still see the dents and cracks left by the Serpent Queen in my village. My people still share the story, but as a tale, now so vivid, so faded. But not for me. It is unforgettable. It isn't just a tale, it was real. Back then, I was just a very little girl. I witnessed everything. It began during the reign of Queen Naoka, called the Serpent Queen. She was not like other rulers. No, she was cold and cruel, her beauty hiding a heart of stone. Her gods, she said, were not the spirit of our ancestors but shadowy forces that demanded loyalty through fear. She built temples of black stone, towering over the land, and filled them with her priests who ruled with iron fists. They demanded offerings, grain, cattle, even leaves. Those who resisted vanished, as if swallowed by the shadows themselves. On one of the days Queen Naoka came to my village, it started with loud horns blasting from nearby. Everyone froze. "She's coming," someone whispered, and we all ran to hide. You couldn't fight her. No one could. Her soldiers arrived first, smashing into homes, burning crops, and stealing animals. They didn't care about the screams or the begging. Then came her priests, wearing masks and chanting weird words that made your skin crawl. They pointed at people, sometimes the strong, sometimes the young, and dragged them away. We never saw those people again, and then she appeared, Queen Naoka herself, carried on a throne by her servants. She didn't yell or scream. She didn't need to. Her shiny robes glittered like the skin of a serpent. Her cold, sharp eyes shaped like that of a serpent were enough to scare anyone. She looked around and smiled like she enjoyed seeing us suffer. When she finally left, the village was in ruins. Houses were gone, crops were ash, and hearts were broken. But the worst part was knowing she could come back anytime. No one was safe for years. We bowed in silence. What else could we do? No one dared stand against Naoka's wrath. No one, that is, until the era of Maisha. Maisha was another hand of this story. It was heard that her father was never known. Some say her father was a supernatural being made of fire. It was said that on the day she was born, no one was present with her mother except for a huge ball of fire which surrounded her birthplace. As far as we know, Maisha was raised only by her mother, who was known by a few. Maisha was loved by her people despite her strange origin, as she had her mysterious way of bringing happiness, relief and light to the people. In a way that countered the darkness planted by Queen Naoka. She was a true light and blessing to the village. The first time I met Maisha was on one of my visits to the river with my father. We had to do some fishing along with the villagers we met there. A good catch will keep us going till next market day, said my father. We did everything but caught nothing of worth for many hours. Then I noticed an unfamiliar woman, who had been watching as well as washing her clothes nearby. He seemed very ordinary. She started walking towards us, then she stopped, bent to scoop some of the river water with her hands, as though to drink it, but she rather mumbled some words to the water in her hands and let it drip back into the river. The water that dropped off her hands let off a big ripple from that spot throughout the rest of the river. Then what followed was a great number of fishes swimming right to the surface where we were. There was our catch. Too many to count. With an angelic smile on her face, she walked away, leaving us in great wonder and plenty of fishes for food. Amongst many tales, It was also said that Maisha mysteriously helped a starving and dying community with food by speaking to the eagles to go hunting for various food from far and near and deliver to the people until they were fed and strong enough to rebuild their lives. Maisha was very tall and didn't appear special in the way people think of heroes. She didn't have riches or noble blood. She was just Maisha, a woman who walked the fields like everyone else and shared her light. But there was something in her, a fire, a strength that wouldn't bend, and when she commands even nature obeys. The good impact of Maisha and the light she carried to the villagers grew stronger and stronger, overcoming the impact of the evil extending from the evil Queen Naoka. It came a time when I witnessed her stand against the queen's priest. That day I felt my stomach twist. They came to our village forcefully demanding tribute, but Maisha stepped forward, her voice steady as a drum, and said, "We owe nothing to your evil queen, now get out of here fast." The crowd gasped in shock. Even the priest froze and faltered. No one spoke against the queen's gods, not if they wanted to live. But Maisha, she just stood there, tall and unshaken. The priest frantically left as though spellbound to Maisha's commands. Even though we knew this would bring the queen's wrath down upon us all, we also knew something was different this time. Like the tides had changed. Words went round the village and soon reached the palace. Queen Naoka was furious. She sent her soldiers to drag Maisha to the royal court. The entire village came out for Maisha as the guards walked her to the palace arrest. I followed but stayed hidden among the crowd. The throne room was vast, its walls carved with strange symbols that seemed to move when you weren't looking. The queen sat on her throne, draped in glittering silk, her eyes cold as a serpent's. When Maisha was brought before her, bound but unbroken, the air in the room grew heavy. The crowd of our people watching with worry, "You dare insult me? You'll bow before me, or you'll burn," said Queen Naoka. After a short silence, Maisha met the queen's gaze without flinching. Gave her a strong stare. "You are nothing," said Maisha. "I have seen the misery and pain you caused my people. Now your reign of evil has come to an end." The tense air grew heavier in the room. I saw Queen Naoka slowly stand up from her terrifying throne. Her face turned into a dark fury and dark shadows like smoke crawled out of her, filling the room to display dark power of some kind. The air was filled with hissing voices of unseen serpent presence. I was full of fear and terror. I pulled away backwards through the crowd to make my way out of the terrifying scene, but was stopped by the shocking looks from the crowd as they gazed into the direction of Maisha. What I saw is the one reason why this story remained unforgettable. Maisha was no longer in chains. The chains fell off at her command. Indeed, things also obeyed when she commands, I whispered to myself in great awe. The queen's guards rushed swiftly towards Maisha to keep her bound, but they were all flung away by an unseen force which crippled them. Then Maisha began to approach Queen Naoka with a fiery glow and light around her. Queen Naoka and her priests marveled and began their chants, calling on their shadowy gods and evil spirits to take down Maisha as they usually did with any challenger. The more they chanted, the more the fiery glow light from Maisha swallowed the dark rolling shadows of the queen. Maisha was unstoppable, undefeatable, like repeated the same words she said before, this time much louder, like the sound of rushing wind. "You are nothing. I have seen the misery and pain you caused my people. Now your reign of evil has come to an end." Amongst the crowd, where I was, the air shifted, then the room grew brighter and brighter. Then hot, unbearably hot. Before anyone could react, a pillar of fire roared down from the sky, burning down the queen's throne, burning down all the queen's altars and horror walls, and consumed all the evil priests to their end. I recall the heat and fire were so intense, Everybody ran out in different directions, but few others, curious like myself, sheltered in a safe place to see Maisha. Lo and behold, the fire didn't touch Maisha. She stood in the glow, calm and fearless. The crowd screamed, scattering in terror. Even Queen Naoka ran, staggering back and forth, her face pale and injured. But instead of accepting her great defeat, she screamed off in rage, saying, "You'll pay for this." But Maisha didn't run. She didn't have to. She simply turned and walked out of the burning palace. The soldiers wouldn't stop her. No one dared to. I believed even the soldiers had had enough of Queen Naoka's wickedness and were pleased at her shocking swift defeat. I followed her glowing figure as she majestically walked from the palace towards the mountainside. I quietly followed and followed, then I was struck by great fright and stopped when I caught her gaze now turned on me with the same stare she gave the queen, but this time it was followed by her angelic smile and a wave. Somehow I understood that she meant for me to follow no more and return back to the village. I did not dare to follow as she walked on until she disappeared into the mountain. The bright lights of the fires brilliantly overpowered the darkness that night, as the walls of the dark palace burnt to cracks and ruins. For days, the injured Queen Naoka's wrath still burned, but not as hot as the fire Maisha had called down upon her evil deity. Queen Naoka sent her weak soldiers across the land, searching for the strange woman who had humiliated her. But Maisha was gone. Never found again. Like she had fulfilled the mission she was born to do for the village and had returned. Some guess she fled to far-away country, others say she walked into the forest and vanished among the trees, protected by the spirits she served. But I never revealed where I saw her go to. And the queen. Her end was swift and brutal. For weeks she remained in hiding for the fear of the villagers who now hunts to kill her for revenge. Not long after, her own servants turned against her in the dead of night. They dragged her to the cracked remains of the palace's highest walls and threw her down to the hard ground. When morning came, there was nothing left of her but scraps of her filthy robes, torn and stained. The whispers has it that the wild dogs had finished what her servants had started. A new ruler, a good king, ruled the village with good and love for the people. To this day, the story of Maisha and the Serpent Queen is told in hushed tones. It's a reminder that no matter how dark the shadows, the light will always burn brighter. But it's also a warning: beware the wrath of the spirits, and never, ever underestimate the power of a single, unshakable good soul. Just so you know, my name is Heinemann, meaning light shines for me. I have shown my light in my own way. You go forth and let your light shine to overcome the darkness in your community.